Hey friends, I'm Ryan Haack. I'm a 43-year-old man with brown hair, a big beard, and I'm sitting in a rocking chair in the corner of my bedroom. And I am so excited to be here to partner with Arts Access in North Carolina to read you my children's book called Different is Awesome. I'm incredibly honored to be asked to do this because Arts Access, if you are unaware, is an incredible organization who works to bring accessibility to the arts for kids and adults who have disabilities. And that is really important to me as I love art. I've always loved art. I draw, I paint, I write, I love music. I played several different instruments when I was in school. I played the trumpet, the euphonium, the baritone. I play the piano still and sing. I was in theater when I was in high school as well. I was Rapunzel's prince in the musical Into the Woods, which was super fun. And so for me, art is just such an important part of my life, and I know it's an important part of many other people's lives too. And so anything we can do to make it accessible is great. And that's what Arts Access does. They work really hard and do some pretty cool things to make that happen. So for instance, they do audio description of theatrical performances, so our friends who can't see are able to enjoy that as well. They have workshops where they talk to creators and educators and help them to understand the importance of inclusion and how to do it well. And then they advocate as well, and they have so many resources that are available for all of us to utilize to make those things happen. And so I'm just really grateful as a person who has a disability. I didn't say it before, but I have one hand. I have my right hand. I do not have my left hand. It ends at my elbow. And so it's really important for me, and I love partnering with Arts Access to be able to do that. So definitely get involved however you can, and thank you, Arts Access, for doing that. So I'm going to read my book. It's called Different is Awesome, like I said. I'm going to read this, and I'm going to try to describe for you the pictures as well. I will do my best to do that. The book is actually based on a true story. One of my younger brothers, my brother Joey, one year when he was in elementary school, he brought me for show and tell. I was what he brought for show and tell. And he just had me sit in front of the class and say, "This is my brother. He has one hand." And that's it, right? And they all asked me some questions, and it was funny at the time. And then years later, I wrote it into this story, and I felt like it was something that we could all learn from this experience. And so I hope that you will find it to be fun and funny and informative, and that we can all learn something together. So let me read Different is Awesome. So the cover is bright green. It says Different is Awesome, and there's an older brother with his younger brother riding on his shoulders with his thumbs up. All right. So yesterday it was my turn to bring something to class for show and tell. I didn't bring a stuffed animal or a remote control car or the picture I drew of an alien. And the little brother is standing in front of his friends in the class, saying this in front of a chalkboard. I brought my older brother Ryan. And then you see his older brother standing there with his right hand waving at the kids. When Ryan was born, his left hand was missing. He learned to do everything anybody else could do, though. He just did it a little bit differently. And you can see little Ryan playing with a truck. You can see Ryan washing his hand in the sink, and you can see him hanging out with some friends in high school. When my friends saw Ryan, some of them said funny things like, "Whoa, wow," and "huh." You see three little kids who are all surprised when they see Ryan has only one hand. I didn't care, and neither did Ryan. We're used to people not knowing what to say. If they found a $100 bill in a bag of potato chips, they would make the same sounds. His arm was a surprise, that's all. And then you see someone with a bag of potato chips, and he found a $100 bill in his bag of potato chips, and he also is very surprised. My friends had a lot of questions for my brother. Sam, who was the tallest kid in class, asked, "Can you tie your shoes?" And Sam is a little boy with spiky hair, and he has his finger up asking a question. "Yep," said Ryan. He showed us how he tied his shoes and said, "See, I can do it. I just do it a little bit differently." And then you see Ryan in front of the class tying his shoes for them, and a close-up picture of him tying his shoes with one hand. Anna, who had curly blonde hair, asked, "Can you ride a bike?" And Anna is in an orange sweater, and she has curly blonde hair. "Sure can," said Ryan. "I love riding my bike, especially going fast over jumps." And then you see Ryan on his bike going fast over a jump. He's wearing his helmet, and he has a couple friends who are shocked and surprised that he's able to do that. And then there's also a little dog sticking his tongue out who's watching too. Joey, who had red hair, asked, "Can you play baseball?" And Joey has a little gap in his front teeth and a green sweater and his red hair. "You bet," said Ryan. "My favorite position is pitcher, and one time I even hit a home run." And then you see Ryan swinging his bat with his tongue sticking out, and it says crack as he hits the ball for a home run. Claire, who had a birthmark on her cheek, asked, "Can you shoot a basketball?" And Claire is wearing a purple t-shirt, and she has a little ponytail with her dark hair. "Totally," said Ryan. "I love making three-point shots." And you see Ryan taking a three-point shot that I'm sure he's going to make at the local park. Noah, who wore glasses, asked, "Can you jump rope?" And Noah is wearing a white shirt and a blue tie, and he has big round glasses. "It's tricky," said Ryan, "but I can do it if I try really hard." And you see Ryan jumping rope with one side of the jump rope tied around his shorter arm, and three of his friends looking on. Three of his brother's friends are looking on while he does that. June, who was the shortest kid in class, had been sitting off to the side. She quietly asked, "Does your arm hurt?" And June is wearing a green sweater, and she has brown long hair that's coming down over her face. "Actually, no," said Ryan. "Since I was born this way, it feels like any other part of my body. There's nothing to be afraid of." Ryan is explaining that to June and the other kids in the class. Jack, whose eyes were green, asks, "Can you juggle?" And Jack has his finger up as he asks that question, with brown hair and green eyes, and he's wearing kind of a yellow-green sweater. "Yes, one time I juggled in the gym for the entire recess." And then you see little Ryan in the gym in recess juggling while his friends look on amazed. Charlie, who had dark skin, asked, "Can you golf?" Charlie also has his finger in the air as he asks his question, and he's wearing a green sweater. "For sure, I can hit the ball far and straight." And Ryan is on the golf course, and you can see the flag for the green, and he's hitting the ball far and straight. Martin, who had a cast on his leg, asked, "Can you play video games?" And you can see Martin with his kind of spiky brown hair, and he has a maroon sweater, and he's actually on crutches because he must have hurt his foot. "I love video games. Sports games are my favorite." And then you see Ryan sitting on the couch playing a video game with the controller in his hand and his short arm. Billy, who was missing his two front teeth, asked, "Is there anything you can't do?" And Billy's wearing a dark green t-shirt, and he has kind of orange-brown hair, and all of the kids are looking at Ryan, and they have a puzzled look on their face, wondering, is there anything you can't do? "Sure," said Ryan, "there are a few things I can't do, but all of us have a hard time doing some things, right? Usually if I can't do something one way, I just keep trying different ways until I figure it out." And Ryan is standing in front of the chalkboard as he tells the classmates his answer, and his little brother is looking at him smiling. "I was glad my brother came to show and tell. He looks a little different than most of us, but we're all different somehow, aren't we?" And you see the little brother looking on, and the teacher is at her desk with a big red apple right on the corner. "I looked at my friends who were sitting around my brother. They liked him a lot, only not as much as I do." And you can see his friends that are sitting around Ryan as he continues to tell them the answers to their questions. I noticed that June was short and Sam was tall. Anna had curly blonde hair and Joey had red hair. Claire had a birthmark and Noah wore glasses. Jack had green eyes and Charlie had dark skin. Martin had a cast and Billy was missing his 2 front teeth. And me, I have freckles. And you can see all of the kids in one big collage with all of those things that I just described. And then he says, everyone is different. And do you know what I think? And then we turn the page. Being different is awesome. And you can see all of the kids standing together with their thumbs up saying different is awesome. And the older brother Ryan is right in front of the chalkboard with his thumb up too. And the last page says, what makes you awesome? And Ryan is on one knee with his hand on the top of his younger brother's head as they both smile. And on the back cover of the book, they're all standing there together, smiling with their thumbs in the air again. So that's the book, Different is Awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I described it well enough for you to be able to experience it. And I would like you to think about that last question, what makes you awesome? Because I think that that's a really important thing that we can all do, especially those of us like me who has one hand. That's something that's very different than a lot of other people, right? And so I like to think of that as something that makes me awesome. And sometimes that's challenging. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we don't want to be different than other people, right? I know friends who are really tall or really short, and they say, gosh, I wish I wasn't so tall, or I wish I wasn't so short. I wish I was the same height as everybody else. Then I wouldn't stick out, you know? But the challenge is to say, you know what? Actually being tall is pretty cool. Actually being short is pretty awesome. And actually having one hand like I do is pretty awesome. And so I want to challenge you to think about that. Think about maybe one thing about you that's different than everybody else and how that makes you awesome. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope you will look for ways to get involved with Arts Access in North Carolina and really support what they're doing to bring inclusion and accessibility to the arts for kids and adults who have disabilities. I think that's such an important thing. And again, I'm so honored to be a part of it and to wear this t-shirt that says Arts Access. Really means a lot to me. So thank you again for having me. You guys are awesome.